Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today, guys, I'm going to do something from the honey-do list, and that's going to be to work on this chair. It's got a broken joint here. You can see the mortise came loose. I almost said dowel. Carpenter missing his terms. And this is not a chair I built. In fact, this is actually an IKEA chair. Now, you might wonder, why does a carpenter buy a chair at IKEA? Because they actually have some hardwood stuff. This one's made of eucalyptus, which I wouldn't choose as a carpenter. It's very like twisty and it's hard to work with. But hey, it cost less fully assembled than I could have bought the materials for. And that comes with its caveats, right? Like they didn't do a through mortise on there. They just did halfway and it came loose. So I'm gonna show you guys, most chairs are actually built this way. I'm gonna show you how to reinforce that and make it stronger than it was brand new, and it's fairly easy, so stick around and we'll get to it. Now, the easy fix would be just to throw some glue in there, but there's so much torque going on this chair, that would be a very short temporary solution. So what I'm gonna do is I will throw some glue in there, then we're gonna close that, just hand tightened, and we're gonna go ahead and pilot and then drill like a 3-inch deep hole. I'm gonna throw a big deck screw in there. I'm also gonna countersink it enough that we can fill it, and we don't wanna ruin this finish. We don't want it to be super obvious, so I have a nice little trick to make it look close to factory, good enough for government work. We get everything ready before we glue it. So what that starts with is a quick center punch, that's to guide the pilot, then we'll pilot it and drill it out. What I have in the drill there is a counterbore bit. You can get these from Make It Snappy. I'll put a link in the description. And that's gonna do a counterbore to fit that deck screw in there. Let's go ahead and drill that in, nice and vertical. A little extra deep for that counterbore because that gives us room to countersink that head in and then fill it. It's a 5/32 bit. Turn the chair over, let the gravity do its thing, and we're just gonna go ahead and put some Tight Bond 3 in there. And I'll get my paintbrush in there and get it on the mortise. The chip brush from Harbor Freight. These guys come in real handy so that you don't burn through expensive ones. Spagoosh. Now this other side hasn't come apart yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and give it the same treatment. I'm not gonna get any glue in there, obviously, because it's still held. But I'll counterbore a hole in there and get another deck screw. So there's our unwieldy, very industrial looking fix. You could stop there if you don't mind, or you could go extreme, dowel it, and then cut it flush with a Japanese pull saw and throw some stain on there. But this is not a chair I made, and I'll probably upgrade these someday to something I will make. But I got kids in the house still, so here's some quick wood. This stuff is great. It's a quick drying epoxy, and you can get them in several colors. Just gonna cut some of the old ends off and mix up a small pea-sized amount of that and put it in the hole. So you basically are mixing a 2-part epoxy stick, and it's kind of like a clay texture, sort of a clay hardness while it's soft. And just like any 2-part epoxy, eventually, I think these take about 20 minutes, it's gonna harden. And so you just mix it until it's all one color, which we're getting there. Make sure it's thoroughly mixed so you don't have not just an eyesore from multiple colors, but that also tells you when it's fully blended. So we're gonna go ahead and I like to kind of roll them into a smaller point so I can push it in there and not miss any spots. And just wipe it off with my thumb. I'm gonna do the same on the other side. Push it in, smush it hard, wipe it off. And now, you can get crafty and sand it, but again, if you're dealing with a chair that's gonna get abused, I just like to kind of make it look good enough. When we bought these chairs, we knew that's what it would look like in a few years, having kids around, so we bought some extra seat covers, and I think it's about time I replaced it. Look at that color. There we go, refurbished IKEA chair. Not looking too shabby. And that should last for years, really. It's a lot stronger than it was new. I hope you guys liked that video. Please stick around and check out the channel. There's lots of DIY stuff on here for you guys. Some of it you may like, some of it you may not. But if you enjoyed this one, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you watching, and have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.